It runs, properly runs. You know when you think you check one thing and you lie in bed and you're like, no, I checked that. And you probably did check it. But did you check it properly? I didn't check it properly, but it runs now. All right, so I'm about 3 to 4 hours in now trying to get this engine to start. Since you saw me in that last episode where we got the cylinder on, I've got great compression, but I haven't had one sign of life. And I basically have no vacuum. So I have no vacuum on one of the strokes for the engine to pull in the next or the first round of fuel for ignition. Everything. What I've done, this is a very agricultural pressure test, but I've jammed a rag down inside the throat of the atomizer. I've also jammed a rag in the exhaust port. Now, two strokes need crankcase pressure to draw in the next load of fuel. Watch this shaft now that I've got the possible exits of pressure blocked off as I rotate this. See that air coming out of that gap down in there? That is where all of my, there you go, all of my pressure is going. And that is why I have no vacuum. So I've taken off that top half of the casing. Here's the top half here. It's got these weird grooves, which I would think would be for oil, to oil the shaft. And there's obviously been some oil escaping there, but I'm going to clean all this up and see how it looks. So I've cleaned up all the mating surfaces here, got all the old gasket off. Just going to do the same on the top side of the casing and then put it back together. And I've really only got one option, which is RTV. So we'll see how that goes. I actually ended up using a rubberized cork gasket. So you know how I said there was one thing that caused this to not start? Well, this isn't the one thing in the end that caused it to not start. But if you remember back to my comment about not having vacuum, this clip is from the previous video, and as we can see here, that open slot in the piston is facing me, or facing you as the viewer. That is incorrect. Now, I put this new piston on the same way as I took the old one off, but someone at some point in time had pulled this apart and made an absolute botch of it. So that slot is meant to be facing me now in the video. And that would enable the piston to create vacuum and draw in the atomized fuel air mixture. So in actual fact, it was never going to start in this current condition. But the piston being the wrong way around stopped me to a point, yes. But once I worked that out, there was still the other thing that stopped this engine from starting. I was also able to get my hands on a copy of the original service manual for this from a company called Rally Badges in South Australia. And as you can see here, one of the ways I was able to work out that the piston was in the wrong way around is by this drawing, this exploded drawing, showing that the opening on the piston is not facing the exhaust and intake ports on the side of the cylinder. This piston is now on the correct orientation. You can see through there the gap. I reckon that'll make a big difference. So I'm turning the camera on because I'll explain in a minute, but I've been yanking on this thing for days, but I just changed one thing and it popped. So I want to start it again now, try, and maybe if I put the camera on, the universal line, I'm going to put earmuffs on because the pop was loud as and it scared the bejeebers out of me. So let's see how we go. Hopefully we can get something to happen. It was a big pop too. I had to open the door because there was so much smoke. All right, let's open this. All right, Here we go. Let's try. The opposite view, very smoky. Just trying to work out how the throttle and the fuel mixture's working on it. Just trying to pick up my feet. So amongst all that excitement, I just want to show you some of the bits and pieces that have got us to where we are. Little spattering of broken piston rings, a piston. That was a gasket at some stage. This lovely little leather number that's, you know, just what it is. Bit of a atomizer assembly over there. This was almost the pièce de résistance. This was my homemade atomizer bowl. Didn't work. Thought it would, but it didn't. It was very close, but it didn't. This is what changed the state of play. I checked this plug so many times. I gapped it, checked it, gapped it, checked it. But I had this fleeting thought that what happens if the plug's just firing when it wants to, mind of its own? You know, this is an old machine. This plug's old. What happens if when it's in, it's earthing out and we're not getting a good spark? It's not sparking properly. It's sparking intermittently. maybe this little tiny hairline crack in the ceramic, maybe that's causing it to not work properly. And then you go and source a plug. Now this is a plug out of a Ford Model T as well, for anyone who is interested in what kind of plug a Chapman Pup engine runs. I put this in, and then you and I both saw the result. So in summary of all that excitement, what was wrong? What was right? My assumption with this is that someone at some point in time has pulled it apart, blindfolded, not taken notes. Photos might not have been possible, but jeepers, they put it back together the wrong way. The piston back to front. Spark lead on the wrong way round. The gasket, crankshaft gasket, split and missing in some points. The magneto, for some reason, had been timed the wrong. I had to re-time this. Who pulls it apart that bad, puts it back together that bad that someone has to re-time it? I had to work out how to re-time it. I'll show you how I did that. That was interesting. But this poor machine, like, it broke in some way and then someone just pulled it apart and then stuffed it back together again. But as we do here, it runs. It came here more than not running. It was scrap. It now runs, and this is just a part of where this is going to go. So I stopped the cosmetic restoration of this purely based on the fact that if I couldn't get it to run, it was just going to be a paperweight. But now that it runs, I can finish doing all this. I can strip all this down again very easily because I've done it 17, 19, whatever it is times now. I can strip this down, sandblast it all, paint it, get the pump fixed, and bang, it is going to be a proper working, self-cooling with a water tank, vintage Blaxland Chapman Pup 3.5 horsepower single cylinder engine. This project it's not done. I'm talking about it like it's done. It's not done. There'll be another surprise. I can feel it. But this was a brain buster. There were so many things on this that were just wrong. General rule of thumb, if you're someone like me, there's lots of us out there that love tinkering on things. There's a bit of an unwritten law that you don't buy things or take things on that someone else has pulled apart. Or if someone gives them to you and they say they've labeled all the bolts, it's just really hard because your own brain can't pick that apart and put it back together again. But this was worth the time. I don't know if that moment that you saw when it started, if it captured I'm excited now about it. I don't know if that truly captured my excitement, apart from the fact that it was so smoky in here, I almost tripped over my own feet trying to escape. But it's such a good feeling. It is such a good feeling. So here we are. We've got all those bits over there that you just saw that aren't all leftovers. Some of them are just shrapnel and war stories. We'll call them war stories. But now we can properly get back into this. We can get it cleaned up, get it running, get the tank back on it so it's not relying on that temporary tank system, and start this up, get it cooling. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Keep your eyes open for the next episode on this because this is going to look completely different then. Cheers guys. I'll see you soon.